Today, we're going to be making a tier list of all of the Mage Errant books. This is a series by John Bierce that has 7 books and then one short stories compendium that is completely optional. So I'm going to be ranking each and every single one of these books, and I'll let you know if the series is worth it. So let's start first with Into the Labyrinth, Mage Errant Book 1. And this is a solid B tier. This is a great introduction. You get a good introduction to the main setting, the characters, you get the plot moving forward, and it ends with a satisfying resolution. It's a great book one, a great introduction. I think it just nets that B tier great, although you're not loving all of the characters just yet. Which then follows up with book 2, Jewel of the Endless Erg. Now, in this one, they basically grab the characters that you met in book 1, they put them in an adventure outside of the magic school that a lot of this setting takes place in, and they have to figure stuff out. There is a mystery going on. They have to uh, bring their magic to the next level. If you don't like magic, if you don't like magic systems that have no explanation whatsoever and are really, really crazy, essentially, if you want hard magic, forget about it. This is a book series that has ridiculous magic. You will start seeing it in Jewel of the Endless Erg. If you didn't like it, don't read further because it just gets more ridiculous. So, Jewel of the Endless Erg, I think it's also a B tier. And I think I'll put it, I think over Into the Labyrinth, actually. I think it's good, although we'll reorganize if need be. Now, a traitor in Skyhold. So, a traitor in Skyhold, book 3. They're back in the magic school that book 1 takes place in. I think it's all right. The problem I have with this book, and the reason I am going to put it in C tier, is that the structure starts getting a little predictable. Essentially, all of the books up to this point are 2/3 of it sort of the characters talking, maybe a tiny action scene before that, and then for the last third, all hell breaks loose. There's a ton of action and a ton of movement going on. A Traitor in Skyhold is super predictable there, and truly for the first 2/3 of the book, it's just character conversations and character development, almost slice of life stuff. But it really does feel like nothing happens for 2/3 of the book. It's kind of slow. If you don't like the characters, this is just not the book for you. Even if you do, I think it can just get a little slow. Some of the development is them just talking rather than doing, and some of it can be telling us rather than showing us how magic works and how things interact, at least in theory. If you don't like theory of how a fictional magic system works, definitely shy away from these books. Then you have The Lost City of Ethos. The Lost City of Ethos is good. I think I'm going to put it in the upper B tier. So I think it's a great book because it has that last third with a pretty big battle going on is amazing. It has some strong moments with great character development, and even the first 2/3 that have some of that development through conversation more so still have some pretty strong moments. So I'm going to say top of B tier, maybe bottom of A if we reorganize it a little bit. And that leads into The Siege of Skyhold. That is book number 5. Book number 5 is spectacular. I mean, I would call it pretty much an S tier. I think it's most of it is just one long battle. I'll say that much. And that one long battle is absolutely spectacular. And I mean, it leads from one long battle to a crazy ending to great implications for the rest of the universe after the battle. So, yeah, the Siege of Skyhold is spectacular. And if you do like the magic system, you're going to see it go absolutely crazy here. It's going to be great. The Siege of Skyhold is Mage Errant at its best at that moment. Then you get to book 6. Unfortunately, I don't know if book 6 should exist, honestly. It's D tier. It's just this book that is very long, especially compared to the previous books. The Siege of Skyhold is when the books start getting a lot longer. Before that, they're maybe like 300 pages of pop. Then they start getting into that 500 to 700 territory. Tongue Eater has a lot of pages and a lot of stuff, but at the same time, because of the nature of the plot, where the characters are doing things on their own, every single implication for the world that the Siege of Skyhold basically sets you up for is not really elaborated much upon in this book. Sure, there are some things here and there, but it's this weird in between book where it feels like it should lead to a last chapter, but it's not. There's a whole other 600 pages there. It's just not that strong. Even though there are cool practicalities and cool inventions in the magic system, even though they go to other crazy worlds and stuff, it's just not that great. Which is a shame because you want the penultimate chapter to be really good to lead into the last echo of the Lord of Bells, which to me is also an S tier. I think I'm going to put it behind the Siege of Skyhold, honestly, because it does have a little bit of dragging, and I feel like the final act is just a little too long. It almost gets tiring at some points, but it does develop the characters so well, especially the main villains. They get so much good development time. I mean, the magic here is explained in a way that is very fun as well. There are some scenes that are just amazing and you can't stop reading. And the conclusion overall is very satisfying. So I'm still going to put it in S tier. I do think it's a great little book. And then you have the Gorgon incident and other stories, and this is just a short story collection set in this universe. And the things to note here about this short story collection are various. First of all, the short stories span a wide range, like 500 years before the books, all the way up to when the books are happening. So there's so much world building here that is fantastic. I really like the way John Bierce wrote most of these short stories. I feel like most of them either make you feel something, make you laugh, make you sad, make you get insight into the world. So, yeah, the Gorgon incident is really, really good. There's even a horror story in there that I thought was a great fantasy horror story. So I'm gonna put this honestly into the S tier as well. I think it's really good. And honestly, I wouldn't sleep on it if you're a Mage Errant reader. If you liked the universe, if you liked the world and you want further world building that is not exactly super important to the plot of the main books, then read the Gorgon incident and other stories. I think it's a great little compendium, and I, in general, am a huge fan of fantasy short stories. So, I think overall, this is the this is the chart. I think I'm gonna put the Lost City of Ethos in the A tier too. So it's clearly a series that ramps up in quality as it goes. I think also just it's some of it is just John Bierce getting better as he goes as well. I think the first couple books are good but not spectacular, and then you see that he really finds his forte in that character development later on and just writing about the magic system in a more interesting and engaging way later on as well. So yeah, it's basically a series where if you do like the first three books, then read the rest. Absolutely. But if you don't even like the first book, if you don't like the second one, you probably won't be loving the rest of them. But I personally enjoyed this series quite a lot, and especially that short story collection. I would recommend it. I don't regret reading any book, even Tongue Eater, which wasn't my favorite. But yeah, I mean, it's a great fantasy, progression fantasy series, and this hopefully serves as a little guide and a little ranking for what to expect. So, did you read the series? Do you have a different opinion? If so, comment down below and let me know what your ranking was or what you've thought of the series so far if you're reading it. And if with that said, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.